Look at NATO. Now, this is a great post because this summarized all these different countries and what they've done to us in the last few days over Iran. Remember, every other war since World War II, these countries, especially the UK, have been stoked to join us. If that doesn't tell you all you need to know, then I don't know what will ever get through to you. These countries were always very happy to dip their toe in, even if they send 20 troops, 100 troops, 1,000 troops, barely anything compared to us. They still would do it because they were reaping the benefits. Defense contracts, money flow, staying on our good side because it was all a game. It was all a game. City of London, which controls the EU, which was abusing the snot out of us, and we were letting it happen. Some presidents more than others, but all of them were letting it happen and progressively get worse, stealing from us so that they could be more enriched, killing our middle class. And now that that's being broken, they're all throwing a pity party. And they don't want anything to do with it anymore because this isn't benefiting them the same way it used to. See, NATO has been completely fraudulent since 1991 when it should have been disbanded. But in just the last 3 days, France blocked U.S. military. By the way, as I go through these, if you're not pissed off, there's something wrong. You should be pissed off because these are the countries that for the last 70, 80 years have supposed to be our greatest allies, and they just left us out in the cold. France blocked U.S. military overflight for weapons to Israel, first time since war began, 28th. Israel cut all defense procurement from France. Italy denied Sigonella Air Base landing to U.S. bombers. Defense minister said relations are solid and loyal days after blocking U.S. planes. That one actually surprised me because Meloni loves Trump, but she might, I don't know how their politics work. She might not even be in control of this. Spain closed entire airspace to U.S. operations. Blocked Naval Station Rota and Morone. PM Sanchez called it not NATO collective defense. Poland refused to redeploy Patriot batteries. This surprised me. I'm surprised Poland wouldn't help. U.S. burned through 1,200 interceptors in 16 days. Poland said no. Switzerland denied 2 U.S. reconnaissance flights, suspended 120 million and weapons exports under neutrality laws. Yeah, what an excuse. UK PM said this is not our war. Trump told them to build up some delayed courage. Trump has made Keir Starmer look like such a little, I can't say the word I want to say, little baby, to be nicer. So much so that even Saturday Night Live made fun of Keir Starmer. That's how pathetic he looks. Germany, President Steinmeier called war possibly illegal while hosting Ramstein, our largest U.S. base outside America. It doesn't even let us use it. France, Italy, Spain, Poland, Switzerland, UK, and Germany all in 1 week. This many allies abandoning you once not disagreement. It's a class. Listen, what are we doing in NATO? What the hell are we doing in NATO? But listen, the American people, God bless us, most American people haven't realized yet how awful NATO is until now. People are starting to wake up. I told you guys, I've been listening to shows where even Democrats are pissed off at NATO, starting to doubt, not the Democrats in the Senate, but some of them who are consultants, speakers, whatever, they're still in the Democratic Party. They're starting to have doubts. They're starting to wonder what we're doing because they're outraged by this. It's so outrageous that they won't even let us use bases that are ours. Insane. Now, Trump pulling out NATO, which we've all wanted for a long time. We wanted it first term. Obviously, we wanted it in the past year when he came back, thought maybe he'd pull that trigger. But you wait until the people will be more accepting. And this Iran war, because it's really the big enemy in the Iran war is not Iran. It's City of London. It's the EU, the globalist Davos. They just got exposed big time. And they just showed us that NATO is not really an alliance. NATO is actually the United States who sometimes let the other people come along for the ride. We've actually been Europe's military. And here's the proof. And they still think, despite the fact we've been their military, they are arrogant enough to think that they have veto power over us. F you, bro. No, thank you. That's not, homie, don't play that. So NATO, it's going to be time. And we have some senators, including Rand Paul of all people, saying Trump should just go ahead and declare it, even though they did pass a law to try to limit the president. But guess what? Coming out of treaties is constitutional. It's a constitutional right given to the president, which means if he did it unilaterally, Congress would fight him. It would go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court would say he could do it. So Trump can pull out NATO unilaterally. And yet, based on everything we've seen Trump do and how many times he's let stuff go to the Supreme Court, I'm telling you guys, he knows he can do it, and he's just waiting for the right moment. But yeah, he can leave it just like he left the WHO, which we had a year countdown, and that was over in January because I think he did day one when he got into office. This war also is not what they're telling you it is. We're not stuck the way they're making it sound. Strait of Hormuz is very important, but it's not the end-all be-all. Saudi Arabia is proving it. Saudi Arabia is now rerouting their oil supply away from Strait of Hormuz at a record pace. Crude oil shipments from Yanbu, a port on Saudi Arabia's Red Sea, are up 5 million barrels a day, doubling in 2 weeks. This comes as 746-mile east-west pipelines operating at full capacity of 7 million barrels per day. You see what happens when you just do stuff? You know how many countries are poor or underdeveloped right now by choice? Either they didn't have the funding, like say in Africa, they were bled out by Europe, or they're the Europeans who do it up by choice because of climate laws or whatever stupid stuff, just like California. But you see what a country like Saudi Arabia just decides to do stuff. Well, they don't have to rely on the Strait of Hormuz anymore. They built a freaking pipeline, and now they have another port, and they're just like, peace, no big deal. This is why it doesn't matter as much. Sure, the Iranian oil won't always come out, and that's going to hurt Europe more than anybody else. Europe and China, which, do we really care that much if Europe and China are the ones struggling the most? I don't. To quote Kevin in Home Alone, I don't think so. Of the supply, 5 million barrels per day are being exported. 2 million are being refined in Saudi. Surge in exports from Yanbu has now offset 45% of lost Persian Gulf shipments this month. We've already offset almost 50% of the Persian Gulf shipments. Dude, Trump knew exactly what he was doing. Everybody who says he didn't plan this is, wait for it, a retard. To put this into perspective, exports from this port were at just 1 million barrels per day before the war in January and February. Saudi Arabia is actively looking for workarounds. Trump just basically, by doing this, he forced Saudi Arabia to choose freedom from Iran. Choose freedom from Iran's dictatorship over the Strait of Hormuz. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But amazing at the same time. On top of that, the Strait of Hormuz isn't quite as close as they say. Reports of its demise are extremely exaggerated. Just 2 days ago, only 5 transit to yesterday, 12. I imagine that's only going to increase. It is not closed. It is under their control. They're charging fees. They're letting some through, but they're charging fees to others. But it's not completely closed. You put that together with what Saudi Arabia is already doing, and all of a sudden, Trump's exactly right. We can just leave. It's not the Strait of Hormuz why we're there, guys. I don't care what they say. It's just not. So I would say at this point, unless you get direct facts, 90% of what's being reported about the war in Iran is incorrect. 90%. Because I listen to a lot of the shows. I don't listen to podcasters as much anymore because since the Grift City happened, I'm just done. But I listen to a couple hard news shows. I tune into a couple debate shows. And 90% of what people are saying is just not true. I get angry listening to them. I'm like, this is just not true. You guys are talking lies. But I'll tell you right now that one of the big narratives is that Trump got stuck, didn't plan for the Strait of Hormuz, and now he's stuck with it. And if he leaves, it's catastrophic. Well, what I literally just showed you guys the receipts. Here's the receipts. I mean, it's happening. The data don't lie. Now, sometimes data lies. But when Bloomberg is reporting this, a liberal paper is actually reporting something that's positive, for Trump, it's not a lie. Finally, with all this going on, Trump blasts out tonight. Our military, greatest, most powerful by far anywhere in the world, hasn't even started destroying what's left in Iran. Bridges, electric power plants, regime leadership knows what has to be done. It has to be done fast. Isn't that interesting how he ended that? They know what has to be done and has to be done fast. In other words, Trump's waiting on them to do something. And he didn't say total surrender. Again, I can't shake the feeling that Trump has an ace up his sleeve on this. I don't know what it is. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the ace up his sleeve is just that he can leave as soon as he wants to, which I definitely think is true. But maybe it's something else. Maybe there actually is something going on in Iran that will be a flip. Or maybe they're talking to some rebel leadership that's going to try to overturn the IRGC. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that this is interesting. Just how he phrased it. And Trump doesn't write this stuff like haphazardly. He doesn't just sit down and be like, here you go, type it out. No, he dictates. Have you ever seen the video? There's a video where Trump is sitting there watching the news, and he's in it's not the Oval Office. It's a room in the White House where several people are there consulting and stuff. And then there's a person it's an aide sitting on the computer. And Trump's just sitting there like, okay, our military, the greatest and most powerful by far in the world. And the person's dictating it, but he's thinking it through as he says it. So it's very interesting. It's not the picture you think of. People think Trump just has a phone and he's just like, no, that's not happening. So something's happening, guys. And I think Trump's going to shock us all. And if he pulls off, now I don't know if it'll be so amazing it's going to wow most Americans. It might wow those of us paying attention, because I tell you what, Trump wows me all the time, but that's because I actually understand what he's doing. I actually understand what's happening, and I actually look at the data. But unfortunately for average Joe Schmo who's watching more Netflix and news, they when they hear news, it has to be a big story for them to go, wow. And so not sure we'll get that, but we might get something that makes all of us paying attention say, he freaking did it. That's what I'm hoping we see. And I'd really hope for the big one, because that'd help more in the midterms. But Iran, baby, we're in full control. I have no doubt of it. When you see the Strait of Hormuz just really is not the issue they say it is, there's just really nothing else to think. No other reason to think we're stuck. So I'm excited. I'm so excited for April. I can't wait to see how this wraps up and then where we go next. Oh, man. It's getting fun. It's getting fun. All right. Guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe if you think it's going to be fun, because I think it is. Or if you're positive, or if you just like how, if you're learning anything.